Man, how you doing, bro? How you doing today, man?
I'm good. I'm good, bro.
Thank you for taking the time out to come and do this interview. But also shout out to my mentor, Glenda and Saeed for making this happen. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I just want to get started. I just want to have a conversation with you today about your Howard journey, your background, your very, very deep
Mm-hmm.
credentials, and just some advice you can give to some upcoming artists as well.
hmm
Where did it start, man? And how did your hometown influence your style?
Started in Wilmington, Delaware. So I came. I was born in '74, and I came to Howard in '92. Um, but it started in Wilmington. So my I guess when to answer the question of the influence on style, Wilmington was a perfect mixture for me because my mother's side of the family is from North New Jersey, and my father's side is from Southeast DC. So my whole life as a kid, I was going back and forth to Jersey, absorbing that, and then coming to DC and absorbing that.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess my style is just like a mixture, like the same way Delaware is like perfectly in the middle of
Mm-hmm.
those two places. It's just a mixture of that. Um, my older cousin went to Howard, so she was going there, and I went to homecoming in like '91, and then I was like, I gotta go here. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a bunch of basketball scholarships, but I turned them all down to go to Howard. So then I came in '92,
Nice.
and that was my introduction. Just like a bunch of dynamic people there. I met my freshman year crew because my aunt taught at a high school right outside of DC in Maryland, and she was just like, "You got to get with one of these kids that go to school with me."
Mm-hmm.
So I met up with him. That became like my sort of like freshman year crew. While I was there freshman year, there was this thing called the Hip Hop Conference, which was thrown by Culture Initiative, which was a group of students at the time who had made this club, an organization, and through a hip hop conference. So it was like all the hip hop luminaries was walking around. Imagine Tupac being on
Mm-hmm.
campus. You know what I mean? Like it was just a lot going on. So I was working for them. I won the DJ competition that year. And then that's sort of how I got introduced to like my musical crew. So that became like Tracy Lee, a group called One Step Beyond, which was Mike and Mid. Middy's now the chief of staff of Newark underneath his brother Roz. So all Howard graduates. His brother is the mayor of Newark. Um, and just the normal story, man, of just us, in separate houses. Four people live in this house.
Mm-hmm.
Four people live in this house. Four people live in this house. Trying to make music. Trying to, we would go into Night Flight Studios. Rest in peace to Scotty Beats. He was an engineer up there. So we would throw parties. When I got there, it was already a organization called Power Move, right? And they were throwing parties. They used to have like ill flyers with like graffiti on it to promote. And they had like one character that was on
Mm-hmm.
every flyer in like different positions or whatever, so you could easily recognize their flyers. They literally threw the party in what the West used to be old and nasty and like not
Mm-hmm.
the way it looks now.
Mm-hmm.
Like they redid it. So after our ice cream social, like the first week, they threw a party in the West, and I went through there. Like I used to throw mad parties. Then I got down with them, and then as a production company, we changed the name from Power Move to RNF. And RNF was like incorporating a lot more. So it was like all of our it was comprised of people from New York, Philly,
Mm-hmm.
me, New York, Jersey, Philly, me from Delaware, and cats from DC. So that was our whole crew. And then eventually, some of us had got prominence. Tracy had a song. Tracy Lee had a song in '97 called "The Theme." It's Party Time. He ended up signing with like Mark Pitts, who managed Biggie. Of course, like D Dot, went to Howard. Ron Lawrence went to Howard. Chucky never went to Howard, but Chucky's DC, so it was like he was always around, and that became my direct mentors
Mm-hmm.
of getting into the music business. But all throughout Howard, just DJing all of the local clubs. Back then, it was like the Ritz, Quigley's, um, man, you name it. Like
Mm-hmm.
the Ibex, which was a go-go spot a little bit further up Georgia Avenue. It's not there no more, but just doing all of those parties was getting my name out and actually
Mm-hmm.
my income while I was in school.
Mm-hmm. Nice, nice. It's funny you when you're speaking about this. I watched your interview with Matt Hova, and
Mm-hmm.
we still sort of have like sort of a similar upbringing. You know, my mom is actually from DC as well. I'm from
Okay.
Jersey. My dad's from Somerset, Somerville. So you sort of answered my next couple questions. You know, as a big teenager, you started going through the college process. What made you choose HU? You went through that. What years
Yeah.
did you attend?
92 to 96.
92 to 96. Okay. And your major?
Was communications with a minor in business.
All right, School of Communications. Cool. Where did you stay at? Would they have you in the Drew project? They have you at Carver?
Yeah, so freshman year I was in Drew. Sophomore year, me and when I told you like my first, like my day ones, like when I first got there, we moved further up Georgia on Rock Creek Church Road, and we got a crib up there. So my sophomore year I lived in Rock Creek Church Road. Junior year I moved into the towers with Mitty. So Mitty was my roommate junior year. And then senior year, I was on Irving. So if you go up Georgia just a little bit past where the Chinese store was, you'll hit Irving. So
Okay.
only really I lived in Drew freshman year, and then the towers my junior year.
Junior year, cool.
And then sophomore year and senior year I was in cribs that we was running.
Cool. When you stepped foot on campus as a freshman, what was the music scene like the culture at Howard?
Incredible. Like it was just, there's the R&B group Shy is walking around. Tracy was there. He was in a group called Mad Props first before he was a solo artist, which was Eric Roberson is there. Eric Roberson is a well-known R&B singer now. I don't know how many of them went to school, but like Diggable Planets was just like always around. That group was there. And just a lot of people that knew a lot of the artists in the rap game, were around. My man Big Ben, who later became MF Doom's hype man. So he was around, and like MCs would come down, like that whole Constipated Monkeys crew, like Curious George and Lord Sear, and like all of those. When they would come into town, they'd probably checking somebody, you know what I'm saying, that went to Howard, bring them around us because we was known for the music. So the scene was incredible. I was bringing a little bit because of the fact that, I had already been, my whole life was really Southeast until I went to Howard. I never really had no reason to be in Northwest. You know what I'm saying? So my whole family, everything is Southeast. So coming the very first day, my mother and my uncle was doing my room. Like my uncle was good with his hands, so he was like putting up track. Like I had track lighting and like all of that in Drew. Like he's putting all of that up.
Word.
I literally just walked over to the radio station and was like, I need a show. I was really like, I came there for that, to be on as a DJ.
Oh.
So I was bringing just, whatever sort of like party rocking that we did in Delaware, which is similar to Philly, and just figuring out how I could take over. And what I did was, my friend Cephas was a ill graffiti writer. So freshman year, and I used to have my equipment in the dorm with me. There's pictures on my Instagram of what my room was like. So like I never studied in my room. I pushed the desk together. I put the turntables on the two desks, like had records and everything in there, and I had my equipment at my aunt's house. So my dude Cephas just like drew a hand flyer, like little, 11 by 9 blank piece of paper, drew a flyer. Literally, we walked over to the entrance of the quad and like put that one flyer on the door. And that night, all the girls from the quad walked over to Drew, and we had a party in the basement. Freshman year. And that was kind of like what introduced me to the whole freshman class. And it was ill because it was like you basically had to sign in, one person could sign in 3 people. So we was just going through the whole dorm, whether or not you knew the girls or not. It was just like, yo, we need you to sign in 3. Everybody come down. So dudes is meeting girls that they don't know. And like, it was just an ill scene because it was like, we had to follow the rules of you have to sign everybody in. And then also it was dope because at the end of the night, they got to come back to you to sign them out to get their IDs back. So it was like all the freshmen dudes like, yo, thank you so much. Oh my God, I just met, Like, so it was just, that was the kickoff of me doing parties. And then I would go to promoters and be like, yo, I know the whole freshman class. And start bringing people to the club.
For sure. I agree with that. I can see, even like nowadays, I feel like having, going to college or Howard, whatever college you go to, like if you can grab attention from whatever audience you're at, like you have an audience set at Howard. So whatever your grind is, you can market and you can get much people from Howard or from the DC area to see your vision.
You gotta remember too, like back then, this is pre the referendum. right?
Mm-hmm.
So the referendum came when Khalid Muhammad came on campus and spoke, and then after that, they made that referendum where it was like, oh, you got to get permission to do stuff on the yard.
Oh, word.
Back then, I could just decide on like a sunny Friday afternoon, if like, oh, I don't know, afternoon classes, and I would just go grab my equipment, me and Cephas, and walk it from Drew. I'm talking about like carrying a coffin over to the yard, set up, play, you know what I'm saying, and just be on the yard playing music all day, so people would hear me that way too. And back then, they used to sell alcohol in the punch out. They used to have like 40s on campus, and nobody, as long as you had it in a brown bag, nobody would say nothing to you. So like Friday afternoons on the yard was like us going out and playing.
Musical influences growing up. I know on the conversation you had with Matt Hova, you talked about a big funkadelic influence coming from your father.
Yeah, I mean, my parents, obviously what they was listening to, but then through hip hop and beat digging, it just became everything. Like, it was just looking for, you know, just the latest groove, not the latest, like the illest groove, like rare grooves. So just a lot of jazz stuff, a lot of funk, soul, R&B, reggae. It went all over the place. You know, you go on a musical journey. You know, you do the normal, like, okay, I'm gonna get, like I said, all the James Brown records, and then once you get all of those, you're like, okay, let me go into this jazz thing, and let me figure out who's playing on all these records, and then somebody's gonna be like, have you heard Brazilian music? And then you're like, okay, let me dive into that. And then have you heard, you know, this sort of sound from the Middle East? Let me dive into that. You know, like you can just explore music. Used to be really great, like music stores in Northeast, and I would go over there and just be digging for hours for just a bunch of different records. But growing up, just always been a beat digger, and always just trying to discover new music that's not the latest pop music.
Nice. So you go from eating at Blackburn, you know, living in Drew Hall. How did you go from that to you know, working with like people like Just Blaze, Memphis, and Jay-Z at Roc Nation?
I mean, that was a long thing. So like, you know, that's 92 when I come. 96 I get with Nonchalant. I went on her tour as her tour DJ. We went on the Fuji tour, the Ready or Not tour in 96. Come back to Howard. That's when I started working for Chucky Thompson. So Chucky had this thing called Chuck Life, because Bad Boy was just moving at that point. And it was just like the biggest thing in the world. So Chucky was my direct mentor of music, life, how to be. He would just make sure I was good. And then worked there for 2 years. 99, I left DC and went to New York to work for Derek, for another Howard cat. And did the Mad Rapper album in 99. And then after that, I went independent as an audio engineer. And that's when I got with Bleak. And then through Bleak, I got with Jay.
Nice. When I look at the resume, it's as deep as it could get. You know, the Blueprint, College Dropout, 444, Thank Me Later, Eardrum by Talib Kweli, you know, 8 Mile, Donda, Certified Lover Boy, you know, a real legend in the hip-hop game. Just want to give you your flowers. As a fan of your work, I got to ask you, what was the energy like in the studio when you were working on the Blueprint? And did you know it was going to be, you know, go down as one of the best albums of all time?
Nah, the energy was incredible. I didn't know it was going to go down as one because it was so fast. It literally the majority of it happened in the weekend. So, you know, like Friday morning, none of that exists. And then come that next Monday morning, you know, like at least 7 of those songs are done, like completely done the way that they are. So it was just like literally that fast, you know? So once it got out, then it was like, yo, this is one of the best ones. But while we was making it, there's no way to know that you're going to, you know, you might get normally one song over a 3-day period, let alone like a whole album. So it was too fast to even notice that it was, you know what I mean? It felt great, it felt good, but it was like knowing that it was going to be that monumental, you wouldn't know that until after it gets put out.
After the fact, word. And then I just named, you know, many classics that you had a big part of. But what I was interested in, I didn't know you wrote for or mixed The Written Testimony by Jay Electronica. That's one of my favorite albums right now. Same with Sick by Earl Sweatshirt. So my question is, what was it like working with a New Orleans legend like Jay Electronica and The Alchemist and somebody like Earl Sweatshirt as well?
Yeah, Jay Electronica's my brother. He's just like one of the most interesting people that I know. Just a real artist, you know, like when you say artist in the truest sense of the word, he doesn't follow anybody's patterns. He doesn't have to be on this like schedule of fame and He does it when he wants to do it. We did just like every day, me and him just in the studio, and sometimes he would write, sometimes he wouldn't, sometimes it's just talking and building. Sometimes it's just, we eat together every day, we drinking, doing like all of that is going on while he's formulating, what this album is going to be. But just a really good friend of mine, just an incredible mind and an incredible artist and a very unique perspective on life. Earl is, I look at more like a younger brother sort of situation, and I like sonically where he was going, which is more, I don't want to say separating him from Odd Future, but like it's him beyond just like chasing the Odd Future thing of like, this is now me as in my own individual and my own sound, and like being with Alchemist, and like that whole thing is super good, because Al's always, Al was cool for years. So hip hop A&R that, and that's who really brought me in on that project. But then having like Earl come to the crib and like we chill, it was more than just me mixing. We actually ended up like chilling together for a while. And he's super dope, just interested, who his father was, who his mother is, like all of those things. You can see that influence in him as a person.
Real poetry. Some of the work that you had a part in, released in 2022, including 2000 by Joey Badass, It's Almost Dry by Pusha T. In my opinion, both could be nominated for Album of the Year. Do you feel the same way?
I definitely think like Joey's album should be up there. I think Pusha T is up there for Album of the Year, but I think Joey should be too. Just his naturation, man. His naturation is incredible. I think really we get to see that him having so much success with the acting puts you at ease to be able to make whatever type of music you want to make. So if music is all you do and that's your bread and butter and that's your income, you're kind of going to be more concerned with like, did I do the right thing? And where am I at in the marketplace, and all of these sort of things. The fact that he's like been so successful, and not the Wu-Tang thing was great, you know what I'm saying? But I think he's really, really found his lick with this Power show. So his acting chops, I tell him all the time, like, man, you are channeling 80s New York. The accent, the clothes, the everything. Like, he really is channeling that thing. So I'm saying all that to say, it gives him a freedom to be able to do whatever he wants to do. Like, even, I don't think without that freedom, you would have got survivor's remorse. You know what I'm saying? Look how long it's been, you know what I'm saying, since that happened. And a lot of people have wanted to talk about, Capital, but it's just like it all comes at the right time. Now he's comfortable enough to, talk about the Steez thing. You know what I mean? Like, that's the just an example of the freedom that you see on this album.
I agree. You've been in the game for a long time. You made your mark on history forever. You talked in the interview with Matt Hova, just talking about, even since a young age, you just love to work. Like, you just love work in general. Is that what makes you keep going at the rate you're going at? It's just love and work?
I actually love what I do. So like, there's always new things. You can always get better. I'm almost like a fiend with it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need no more plugins, but it's Black Friday, so I'm gonna sit here and go through all the Black Friday sales and figure out which plugins I want to buy. Like, I just love it. I love it, music and creating it and mixing it, but just being a creator.
Nice. And then as a Jersey,
I really feel like competition no more. It never really was for competition. It's just for expression. It's just, you love to express yourself.
Then as a Jersey, two more questions. As a Jersey native myself, born and raised, I saw Drake come out with his, not the project he just dropped, but the Jersey Club inspired one, Honestly Nevermind. And Lil Uzi just came out with Just Wanna Rock, sort of Jersey Club inspired. Do you feel like Jersey is finally getting the mainstream credit it deserves? I know, like people like Just Blaze are from Jersey, like Lauryn Hill, Naughty by Nature from Jersey. But do you think
I think it got a long way to go. I want Jersey to get way more exposure. So, people are tapping into vibes, you know what I mean? And that's a cool thing. But when I say, do I feel like it gets the props it deserves? No, not until, there's a multitude of Jersey artists that are out there and on top and, can be where we were when it was like Naughty was out there and Queen Latifah was out there and Redman was out there, like all at the same time. So there's so much talent in Jersey that I'm trying to help. Khalil Gibran is probably the one that I'm the most involved with. Young man, you know, was shot in New Jersey. Incredible music, but I'm working with him personally.
Nice, all right, cool. And then just lastly, what is some advice you can give to some up and coming artists? You know, any marketing strategies today with the use of social media? I actually created my own platform at Howard in DC, where I go around and talk to Howard artists and give them like short little mini documentaries, write articles about them just to get some exposure.
I would just say, just do it now. Like that's the thing. You know, in order for you to get where you got to go, you got to build that fan base. You know, and it's different now because it's like before we was trying to get signed, whereas now people are not trying to get necessarily signed at this point, but get above the noise is the hardest thing. So you just got to put a lot of work out there, and just the consistency of the key. Because somebody that's less talented than you can outwork. You know, like that's the thing. So don't just rely on your talent. Like you gotta put the work into it, especially nowadays. And the work has a lot to do with how consistent you are. That's the consistency of the key.
Gems. Thank you so much, my brother, for taking the time
out. It's 3:00. I gotta jump into another meeting. But
all right, thank you. Have a good day.
You too.